Now, just in case there was any confusion, yes, he did what he did. Yes, you all saw what you saw. Yes, he said what he said. Yes, this is really happening. Yes, this was preventable. Yes, we will resist. Yes, we will go on. No, this will not consume us. Yes, we will still find joy. No, they can't have it. Do you understand what I'm saying? I need everybody to stay focused.
Let me address something real quick, man. It was never about grocery prices. Let's stop acting stupid, y'all. Everybody's online talking about how Trump is rolling back the grocery prices. The thing he's talking about, it was never about that. It was never about grocery prices, how high it is. And I got proof on that.
It is Martin Luther King Day. I want you guys to remember, it is Martin Luther King Day. Can you see what's going on? You see what's going on? I'm not going to describe it. I can't even say what he's doing. I can't tell you what person from Germany, circa 1939, you should be thinking about. I can't even say it, but I can show it to you 1080p. He's the one really calling the shots in. As you can see, this is the message he would like to get across. Bro did it twice. He did it looking this way. He did it looking the other way.
Thank you.
Interesting. See, in many ways, Rump is just a grifter, an old man trying to stay out of jail. But what is he on? What shit is he on? He don't even go here. I watched this and seen that man do that. And I seen a crowd of Americans cheering for this. We all knew that's what last night was about. That just confirmed it.
MAGA world is watching. Big boost right now, as you can imagine. I don't know if you guys can hear it over my mic, but...
Boy, is that striking.
I just couldn't watch it. If it came up on my feed, I had to scroll past it. And I saw that gelatinous orange face. I just turned the TV off and changed the channel. Even if I saw Obama or somebody walking in, I couldn't do it, bro. How the fuck did this happen?
I want to understand it. One of my biggest annoyances is when I can't understand something. And no matter how much I sit in silence or how much research I do, I cannot understand why people went and voted for Donald Trump. He won by a landslide, man. I want to understand why y'all would go to war for Donald Trump. I need to understand it. Convince me. Since y'all are so pro-MAGA and so pro-Trump, and fuck the Constitution, whatever Trump says, fuck the traditions, whatever Trump says, we're gonna do it. If that's what y'all are committing to, at the very least, explain it.
I don't know why they keep voting against their best interests. I don't know why they keep voting against their best interests. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it honest. Let's keep it truthful. They didn't vote against their best interests. They didn't vote to make their time hard. They voted against blacks.
For years, we've been told the percentage of white people in America was shrinking. That's part of what motivated the Trump vote in 2016. People kept saying, it's our last chance. They know we're soon to become a minority-majority country. But when white people show up, turn out, and become 3/4 of the electorate, they can get whatever candidate they want.
There's nothing else that America's shown me the last 5-10 years. It's that white people would rather have their lives actively made worse by a white guy than made better by a woman or a person of color. And that's just crazy.
Every time I point out racism or something black people go through, there is always some vine swinging, Congo drumming coon in the comments like, well, it's a competition. Well, actually, well, how do you think? Have you found your tap dance shoe size?
Us white men rule now. I thought it was about the cost of eggs being too high. I thought it was about the economy. Right, that's why you voted in the way that you did, because of economic stability. But see, the thing is, and this is historical fact, since this nation's conception, the people who have occupied positions of power by design have been rich, affluent white men. And one way that they were able to maintain their power is by convincing non-rich, non-affluent white people that their enemy was black and brown people.
So this white lady just came up to my window asking me what I was doing. I think she's right now, I don't know if you can see her, like currently calling the police or something. Here, hold on. There she is. Nah. She picked the wrong one. She came up to my door and was like, oh, what are you doing? I just told her to mind her business. And she's like, I'm gonna call the police because I think you're doing something weird. I'm literally chilling before I'm going to the gym.
I am not ashamed. Well, you should be. You should be ashamed. Well, you should be. For being so well, you should be. How much candy is that there? How much is all that?
Yes, I want to see.
I'm buying it all.
Fine.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
I am not ashamed of myself. I'm standing up for this young person.
Yeah, you're really standing up for them, yelling at them.
Oh, and they take them all around the country, and you should see how they live.
Have not taught our children about the psychopathically racist way of Europeans, but we've taught them to aspire to success behaving like Europeans. So you're having this, our children are getting slapped and knocked down because they don't understand who they're dealing with. They think that racism doesn't exist.
A kid bringing out his trash to be dumped and he's getting harassed by the police.
He was taking out his trash, yo.
This is a perfect hit. Why you going uncuffed? Why are black kids have to go through trauma like this at all times? You always use it as an excuse, man. It doesn't matter once you're black man in this person, bottom line.
You're telling me you had a nurse that you knew was harming newborn, like neonatal infants, and you put her back on the floor? I hope these families sue fucking everybody. I hope you sue everybody.
That's Nurse Lex, and she's talking about 26-year-old Erin Stropman, a white nurse in Henrico County, Richmond, Virginia, who was arrested for intentionally breaking the bones of 7 black babies in the NICU.
I hate to tag this to RFK Jr. There's a clip circulating where he's talking to a room full of black people and he's telling them that they need to raise their children to be able to handle racism, to be able to withstand racism, and that if they're able to do that, they'll be like Avengers and racism won't affect them. And he says that's more likely to happen than ending racism, because I don't think that's ever going to happen. What he's effectively saying is, if you can change the narrative, you don't have to change their reality. You just change how they think, right? So they start to think that racism is something that they need to be tough enough to withstand. The problem with that logic is that's exactly how black children were raised from at least the end of slavery until very, very recently, where we started to go, hey man, fuck that, we breaking cycles, right? Our children deserve to be children. The idea is, he's saying, I need you to make your children responsible for racism's impact on them. But I don't believe that white children should have to know about racism because they're too young for these discussions. And we don't have to pretend that that's what's being said, because we see they're taking all types of history that make white children uncomfortable out of schools. So here is black people being held responsible for how racism impacts them, while white people are given a pass to not even think about it.
But $750,000 ain't what I would call compensation for 44 years of a man's life that was intentionally put in the penitentiary. I was 20-year-old when I left the street. My mother was 42. My dad, he was 45. For 44 years, I didn't spend no time with my mother and father. My dad died. The last thing my sister said my daddy said, till when I tried, I did all I could to get him out. My mother died 30 days before I got out. Her last words to my sister, you're running home? You tell me what that's worth. You tell me what's that worth.
The TikToker who scammed nearly $40,000 after lying about a football-sized tumor was spared prison time after a judge handed down a suspended sentence last week.
This was not an isolated or momentary lapse in judgment.
Madison Russo also lied about having leukemia and pancreatic cancer in postings on TikTok, GoFundMe, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
You spoke to actual cancer groups. At any step along that way, you could have stopped.
As part of the 10-year suspended sentence handed down Friday, she was ordered to pay $39,000 $1,000 in restitution.
Imagine anyone who's been hit with 34 felony charges. Now picture them just chilling, out there playing golf, throwing massive rallies, and blowing up social media with unhinged posts about prosecutors handling their case. That sounds wild, right? But here's the thing. If that person were black, would this still be the vibe? I think not.
Have you ever wondered why Donald Trump gets away with all the things that he gets away with, all the rhetoric that comes out of his mouth? He said that if he doesn't win, there'll be a bloodbath. He called people verminers. He used all sorts of fascist, autocratic rhetoric as he's out on the campaign trail. All types of racist, white supremacist rhetoric. And yet, his supporters,
Why hasn't anybody talked about this? Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson's chief of staff, a beautiful black woman, Krishana Pilot, was shot in the neck outside a church on New Year's Day in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and nobody even talked about it on the news. She was the first black woman to ever serve as a lieutenant governor's chief of staff. It's very disheartening that they're saying they don't have any leads right now and no arrests have been made. Oh, but they will chase a man 4 states away for killing a big insurance CEO, right?
This was a shocking moment caught on camera. Video obtained by our NBC affiliate KARE 11 shows David Matori trimming a tree outside his Minneapolis home Wednesday when, according to court documents, a bullet was fired from his neighbor's upstairs window.
The bullet went down through my neck and then all the way back to my spine.
Adding, the last 11 months since he and his wife moved in, they've been living a nightmare next door to John Shawshack. Court documents show the victim called police 19 times prior to the shooting for incidents including harassment, hate speech, and verbal threats. Shawshack has been charged with attempted murder, but he is not in jail. Police allowing him to stay in his home because they say he's a threat to himself and others.
The likelihood of an armed, violent confrontation where we may have to use deadly force with the suspect in this case is high.
98% of the Republicans are white males, predominantly white males. Most of them graduated from Ivy League colleges, and most of them have common sense. Most of them know right from wrong, but all of them are racist. When it comes to common sense about Donald Trump and doing what is right for the American people, doing what is right for the Constitution of the United States of America, making the right choices, not only for the country, but for their constituents, they choose racism over common sense.
Next tonight, 3 managers at a Lowe's store in Virginia are out of a job tonight, fired after calling back one of their drivers out on a delivery. The customer the driver was on the way to see allegedly wanted only a white person to make the delivery.
This is the Facebook post that showed the world what happened inside the Old Navy store at Jordan Creek Town Center earlier this week. James Conley III had been one of Old Navy's best customers. He was wearing an Old Navy coat when he went into the store to buy clothing. A clerk stopped him at the checkout counter and asked him if he wanted to pay for the coat along with other merchandise. Conley bought the coat for himself last Christmas. Eventually, the store checked security video and realized their mistake, but they did not apologize.
For that to happen in front of, the way it did in front of the customers, it was really embarrassing.
I'm being arrested.
Early Monday morning, Courtney Mallory was taken into custody.
We don't want to become a hashtag.
Nicole, a Marine, and her husband bought Freedom Acres Ranch in 2020. The couple claiming they face repeated acts of domestic terrorism by white residents on their own property. They say their dogs have been poisoned. Numerous farm animals have been slaughtered and gutted. Residents have been trespassing on their land, running over fence posts, burning their Black Lives Matter flags, spray painting racial slurs on their land, even waving guns at them.
Since I've been the sheriff of Cattle Parish, I don't run a place out there. I don't want state prisoners, okay? They are a necessary evil to keep the doors open, that we keep a few or keep some out there. And that's the ones that you can work. That's the ones that can pick up trash, the work release programs. But guess what? Those are the ones that they're releasing.
I think a lot of people live in a bubble. They have never been confronted by people who do not look like them and people who do not believe like them. And so that is why they confidently get on the internet and say the things they do. But then they are shocked when they have pushback And because you have never talked to anyone else that does not believe like you don't know how to defend it. To me, a belief needs to be defended. It needs to be standed on. If you cannot defend your belief, it is not a belief, it is a condition. You have been conditioned to think like that.
What's the most important issue in the governor's race here in Virginia?
Getting back to the basics of teaching children, not teaching them critical race theory.
And what is critical race theory?
Well, I'm not going to get into the specifics of it because I don't understand it that much, but it's something that what little bit that I know I don't care for.
And what have you heard that you don't?
Well,
that you don't like?
I'm not going to, I don't have that much knowledge on it.
And so as America wakes up to the reality that the pursuit of profits has hollowed out what truly matters, connection, purpose, and fulfillment, we're confronting that same nihilism that James Baldwin warned us about. The system wasn't built to serve us, but to exploit us. And the American dream, though once it was very aspirational, it now feels like an illusion. What's different today is that this disillusionment, once confined to the margins and marginalized groups, is spreading to the center.
I said go back to Africa. You say go back to Africa? Yes, sir. All right, come around and say it in my face. Okay.
I've been a brunette my entire life, and I bleached my hair blonde a week ago. I've never gotten as much attention as I've gotten right now. You don't realize how racist the general population of white people really is until they know that you're not racially ambiguous anymore, because I was with brunette hair. Now that I'm a blonde, they're like, oh, you're definitely white, so you're a safe space for my racism.
You hate black people too?
Yeah.
And nothing's gonna ever change that?
No. You should go to Memphis.
Okay.
It's for black folks. Call it Memphrica, like Memphis, Africa.
Oh yeah, and what do they call it where you're from? Quahog? Hey Lois, look! It's me! Hey Quagmire! Look! It's my twin! Hey Brian, call Joe! This is crazy! Peter, what's with the face? What, I'm the bad guy now? You decided to play these games with me, and now I'm the bad guy? All jokes aside, don't you think you're a little bit too obese to be doing all this? I mean, what do you hate about blacks the most, really?
Their blackness, and their too big. And they get all the white women, too.
Yeah, maybe if you didn't look like a fucking sea lion, we wouldn't have to plow through these snow bunnies like Santa's sleigh.
Bro, being a black in America is so crazy, especially as a professional. So imagine you on a flight, and over the intercom, they say they need medical personnel. And you are a... So, what do? You think it's your duty, you hop up to go assist in the emergency. You hit the aisle, and they say, no, sit down. It's the flight attendant, sit down. So, but you yell, I'm a nurse. And they say, oh, and instead of allowing you to get to the situation, you get interrogated on your credentials.
I was on a call with a client, first-time client. We were on a Zoom call, and he said to me, I'm just not realizing you're black. I go, surprise, surprise, even though it shouldn't be, because in your packet of information, they always give you our bio, and you hit this therapist, this tech, you did that, you hit that button, sir. How did you not see in my bio that I was black? Well, you just look lighter. I go, that's called lighting. I said, are we going to continue this, sir? Well, no, I kind of want to be in a white world, and, I thought that, and I go, okay, well, let me hang this up, and then I'll let the clinic know. Well, no, you're the only one on there that does what I need. And I go, no, sir. I don't know what world you think you living in today, but this world that I'm living in will no longer help people that see me less than.
So stitch this and tell me something that white people aren't ready to hear. That black women were there to support me and to advise me, but not to rise above or become better than me. And that's why when this black teacher was way better and more talented than me, I felt some kind of way about it.
We're jealous. I think we're jealous because we would love to be that, I think, and we don't know how to break out of the indoctrination that we have been suppressed by our entire life.
You know what's so funny is a lot of times I get comments on my videos where it says, oh, here comes the race baiter. Here comes the guy that keeps the country divided. Country's been divided, called segregation, Jim Crow, slavery. So let's not blame us for dividing the country. They always say that. That's keeping us more divided. It's always been divided, dumbass. Gentrification, redlining, we can keep naming it. Anyway, when I make videos and comment on racial shit, it's because you did some stupid shit again. It never fails. You never seem to disappoint.
So peep this, right? Tell me why I'm at the gas station earlier, you know what I'm saying? And I walk in there and see a group of construction workers. Like, I was about to say Mexicans, but I don't know if they was Mexicans. I just heard them over there with tacos, and I ain't never heard that at Chipotle. So I just know they spoke Spanish. I'm in there getting some coffee, and this white dude walk up on me. Hey, get hold of them. Not gonna have to deal with that for too much long. Ain't that right there, brother? Like, just call me a nigga. What the fuck do you mean, brother? Like, nigga, what the fuck you think, you Hulk Hogan? So anyways, I turn over and look at him. Put up with what? Tell me why this nigga dead ass looked me in my eyes and said, come on, now don't do me like that. I know you're one of the good ones. No, nigga, I'm one of the black ones. What the fuck does that even mean? So then I asked him, like, yo, what's the point of all of this? You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't gonna lie, this ain't my conversation. Well, this ain't their country. Like, yo, okay, you know what, bro? Like, I get it. Let's just make America racist again.
And they're also here illegally. So with the Trump administration in the White House, I just wanted to get ahead of the game.
Listen to white nationalists on a live just openly talk about how they're so happy that more white people are being racist towards immigration. Listen.
I can't express how amazing the response around immigration has been. It's been more explicitly racial than I have ever seen from whites. I think our people know that time is running out and we need solutions now. They are paying close attention.
Isn't it great? I think that this is it's such a positive development. I don't think I've ever felt better about the state of the country than I do right now.
It's like lightning overnight, you know, everybody started talking about it and everybody pretty much agreed unanimously except for the oligarchy.
These white nationalists here are hinting at the great replacement theory. They don't want any kind of immigration from people of color. They are concerned about keeping the United States white. And like I've said before, these white nationalists are pretty much done acting like they even tolerate people of color.
And hundreds of residents in Northwest Indiana woke up to find KKK flyers papered across their lawns, their doorsteps, and their cars. The Trinity White Knights of the Ku Klux Klan have claimed responsibility for the flyers, saying they're merely informative. The flyers advise undocumented immigrants to leave the country before Inauguration Day or face deportation. The flyers were distributed in Valparaiso, Michigan City, South Bend, and several other Indiana communities, including outside of Indianapolis.
The lengths that people will go to solicit your help so that they can be in a position to oppress you or feel like they're better than you. It's crazy. After people show themselves with their vote, y'all know who you are. We quickly got into this find out stage. Then all of a sudden, the people that voted that way are begging the people that warned them not to vote that way to help them. Everything that's happening now, we saw it coming, except this. Me personally, I didn't see this one. The coalition is building. This is Steve Bannon. He's trying to say he's not a racist, and he's trying to recruit Black and Hispanic communities to unite against President Elon Musk, because now it's a class thing, up versus down, which I agree, except he's a celebrated white supremacist. We've already seen and heard what he'd like to do with that supremacy.
So how is the guy chanting build that wall? How is the guy promoting mass deportation? How is the guy demonizing immigrants the guy you'll support when you know my kids and you know their mom? Even if it's just me, you're a single issue voter, right? You know me personally. You know what him becoming the president does to my reality. And that's still a decision that you're willing to make. And I'm supposed to still be your friend.
Some of you Anglo-Saxons end up doing stupid shit, and I call you out on it. I call my own people out on stupid shit too. But you don't want to be held accountable for the foolishness.
Can you spell Candy Crush backwards? Oh, rock. Wait, crush.
You do.
I have observed behavior of my white counterparts on set where people will get loud, frustrated, and it is couched as being passionate or just sort of like animated. Like it's given like a moniker that is not angry. And I see it happen. I go, if I did the exact same thing, I I did not get the pass. Just by being black in general, the level and amount of latitude for bad behavior, you have different consequences.
I'm still struggling trying to make a living. After 30 years in this business, I've been in this business and making films now over 2 decades, and still, with 2 Oscar nominations, many big blockbuster films, and yet I'm still struggling financially to make a living. Definitely underpaid. Systemic racism don't change like that anytime soon.
Growing up, you're one of the first big black actors I saw in big budget films, so it's mind-boggling to me.
Well, that's a sign for you that systemic racism is not something that you can deal with lightly. You have to cope with it and survive the best way you can.
When people say, why do we make everything about race?
Because we can't avoid it.
Right.
Yeah,
we live in a society where every single day we are forced to think about race. Whereas other, non-black people, other ethnicities can go through life and not even have to think about what they are unless they're confronted by a black person about the issue of race.
Right. You think white people hate black people?
Yes.
Or they just don't understand us?
Hate us. They understand us. Nigga, they made us. They educate us. What you mean they don't understand us? They educate us. 95% of school teachers are white in America. What you mean they don't understand us? Most of them are our probation officers. Most of them are our judges. What you mean they don't understand us? They reading our files. They know our history. They know our history better than we know it.
They don't understand the struggle, though. That's what I mean.
They do understand the struggle. They created it for us to struggle. They know what the struggle does to us. We don't know. That's why we try to embrace the struggle like it's something. That's why we put the struggle over a middle class life.
If I had over a 400-year start to get ahead, cheating, stealing, and gaslighting, I guess I'd be pretty mad that all the people that I've been cheating and stealing from were still wiping the floor with me in terms of achievements. Because how have you literally had a 400-year start and not made anything of yourself in this country? But this is the difference that I've noticed between us and them. I've been told my entire life that I was gonna have to work twice as hard just to get half. From day one, I knew this was not going to be easy. These people who've been told that they are better because of their skin color and would have better things their entire life, look up and they're angry that they see a president that looks like me.
We don't care, Karen. We don't give a lily, not a little bit. You don't get the hell up off my page. I don't give a fuck about the opinion of bigots.
Fuck your grandma, that bitch racist. Fuck your granddaddy, that nigga racist. You just crackers, all y'all racist.
What they have failed to consider is that the 92%, the 80%, this is nothing new. Literally, we will find a workaround. Always have, always will. This is just another hurdle. This is nothing new. If they studied their history, they would understand where the 92%, the 80%, where they came from and the hurdles they had to get over. And this is just another one.